when you're an employee and you have your one job title and your one job description, weeks could go by without like any fires, we'll call them for lack of a better term. And when you own a company and it gets to 100 people, I'm not kidding you, I can't remember the last day something didn't go wrong.
Welcome to today's episode of the Seven Figure Journey podcast. I am one of your hosts, David Gilliland. We have the privilege of having with us Gino Donati from SDR Ready, founder there of SDR Ready. And we're so glad to have you on here. I believe you're calling in from Palm Beach. Welcome. Gino, just tell us really briefly, how did you start SDR Ready? Where did this come from? And, where are you at in your journey right now?
Yeah, I'll try and make this as short as possible because I can ramble on. I was the W-2 SDR manager turned director of dev. And I actually got fortunate enough to bring a Canadian company into the US and then a Danish company in the US. And a VC contacted me and said, hey, would you want to do the opposite? And I was like, put companies out of business? Like, what's the opposite? And they're like, no. We want to move you down out of the country to recruit expats to lower costs. Basically, instead of taking companies into the US, we want you to take SDRs out of the US and sell into the US. And I was intrigued. I was 30 years old and I'd never lived outside of the country. That was kind of like a bucket list item for me. And I had that opportunity. It was supposed to be a 6-week project and it turned into almost 2 years down in Buenos Aires, Argentina.
So you kind of figured that out. And then did you just spin out or did they back you? Is that how you started?
Yeah, very good question. I don't want to bring up any bad blood. I'm not going to lie. My feelings were a little hurt. I knew how much money I saved them in 2 years, taking their struggling companies and turning them positive. And I really wanted to be a partner. And they were like, yeah, like you're not a partner at this VC, but you've been great. And I flew back to San Francisco, met them, did the whole song and dance. And I said, hey, you guys taught me so much. I think I'm just going to offer this to a bunch of startups that don't want to wait till they're down on money and just never get behind.
Nice.
And they were like, honestly, that's like a fantastic idea. Like couldn't have been a better fit. And that's where it spun off about 7-8 years ago.
That's awesome. And where are you at today? What size? What's the complexity you're dealing with now?
Yeah, so the company itself is just over 110 people. Our sweet spot, I would say, is the 0 to 1, not the number, but 0 to 1, like Peter Thiel in terms of sales dev. People find us, they've MVP'd their product. They usually have no paying clients, but the product's ready. Their Rolodex is just not buying from them. And they come to me and say, hey, we really are ready for sales dev, but we don't want to like hire this department. We want you to get us our first SDR. And we offer fractional coaching, management, everything, that layer. So we keep between 20 and 24 clients. The smallest client is one SDR and the largest one is 30, and we have everything in between.
Nice. Well, that's fun. It sounds like you guys have been building something great. Like you say that, and I already have these. I've got some businesses like popping through my head. Right? Like, I know some people. Anyway, that's awesome, Gino. On this journey, I mean, getting to 100 and something team members that you've trained up and you've taught, and you're directing them to do all of that work and being the liaison with so many different companies, you probably learned a few things along the path. Like, how do you lead teams like that, right? A bunch of kids that are learning and growing, or maybe some great professionals overseas, maybe some other nuggets. What have you picked up? What could you share with us?
Oh, let's start negative first. I like getting that out of the way. They're never going to care as much as I care. Like period. Like I'll check, if I wake up in the middle of the night, I'll check my email. I'll double check an invoice I sent with no one's responding air. I'm just like making sure. So sadly, it's a lonely journey. Again, I don't want this to be all like, sappy, but sincerely, being an entrepreneur is a lonely journey. We're crazy for doing it. The upside does make up for that. But that's probably the number one thing I've learned is no one's going to care as much as you, and it is a lonely journey. And then on the flip side, how little that actually comes to fruition that I expected. My business today is nothing like what I thought it was going to be. When I worked for that VC doing it for their portfolio companies, there were so many layers that they were handling that I didn't see, that they never even told me about. Like, I kind of understand now, 7 years later, why I was not qualified to be a partner. at their VC, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Tell us more about what you learned there. What were the things you needed to learn differently?
Yeah, honestly, I would say operationally, um, there there's so many little intricacies. There's never a day where something doesn't go wrong. When you're an employee and you have your one job title and your one job description, weeks could go by without like any fires, we'll call them for a lack of a better term. And when you own a company and it gets to 100 people, I'm not kidding you. I can't remember the last day something didn't go wrong. And so that, yeah, I don't know if I'm being overly negative.
Now that you've shared the real, and all of us on the call get it, right? We're all running these businesses. So, what has helped you? What has helped you harness the power of those teams, get great things from it, or maybe some nuggets you've picked up, that lessons learned that have really helped you thrive now?
I would say being like a good boss, being a good leader, being sincere, never demeaning or undermining anyone, you get really, really nice messages, like life-changing letters from people.
Mm.
Like people that like credit you with changing their life, credit you with finding their like fiance. I know it sounds like crazy, but like they have said like, I was in a bad place, this, that, the other. You empowered me. You gave me this. You gave me extra money to do that. I've gotten some really nice, sincere, we'll call them love letters from employees, from friends that I never expected. I never expected how much a positive workforce and job can ripple out into every aspect of your life.
Oh, wait a second. You're telling me a VC, previously VC backed, hard nosed sales guy, greatest rewards were seeing his team really thrive.
Honestly, like I I've done this now for almost 8 years. There are kids that I met that were moving to Argentina single that now have two kids and are married. So yeah, I hate that. Probably the best part about my job is the longevity.
I love
The
that.
competition's thin for what I do and where I do it. So we do have a pretty long tenor. So yeah, I can honestly say I don't want to be. I'm not a vulgar person, but I don't want to be like too outlandish. Like we went from going out and getting drunk together, all single, to like we're all married now and parents. It's a very interesting 8 to 10 years.
That's really neat. Cool. Thanks for sharing it with us. Yeah, a lot of times we're measuring our success by the bottom line on the numbers, and we forget that the significance behind that wasn't the number. It was the lives changed, the growth realized, that potential, right? And just seeing, and that breeds great business too. It just does. So I love that you shared that. Thanks, Gino. Uh,
Absolutely.
well, you're at another spot now, and you've got new challenges. You've grown to a place. Your industry's changed. Like, what have you got now? And let's see what we can tackle together.
Yeah. If I had to lay like one aspect out there, and I think you'll hopefully help with this, is if you look at a sales dev outsourcing company, there's only so high you can go, right? Before you're knocking me off the peak. So like you need the SDRs, the front line, you need the team leads, you need the managers or directors, and then there's me at the top. One of the challenges I have is keeping people, not, I wouldn't say motivated, but that could be the right word, or believing they have a career path with us.
Mm.
Because technically the organization's as simple as it gets when you look at it from the outside.
Yeah. So you're worried about the long-term growth and success of the team, so they want to keep staying with you, keep thriving, and not coast.
Yeah,
Good.
exactly. Because that's when our clients are the happiest, when our pedal's all the way down.
Are you okay if we pull back to the statement you said at the beginning? I could challenge you a little bit on it.
Please.
You said your team will never care as much about this business as you will. And I believe there's a lot of truth to that, but we may not give enough credit to what that team could really believe in. So, uh, and you have something. I mean, the way you have talked about it, you've got something for them to believe in. So let's play with this a little bit. We found that in life and in business and in every organization, people are looking for three things. They're looking for a purpose. They want meaning. Give me something that shows I'm creating value besides a paycheck. Like we talked earlier before the call, you had some people that were checking their bucket list. I have like, whoo, I'm working in a foreign country and I love this, but making less money, but just living a life, not really working hard, right? Because
Yep.
they were after a different purpose than what the business had, right? And so getting clear about what our purpose is as a business and then finding people who align with that purpose, they'll go to the end of the moon, like over, like they'll just go around and come back again, go to the end of the earth, go to the moon and back again, whatever those analogies are. They'll sacrifice to make it happen. And you were telling me a little bit, and you hinted to the group just now, but your purpose, what you most love doing, the wow, had a lot to do with these people in other countries and now have opportunities they'd never had before. Talk to me a little bit about that gets you to want to grow, to do more because of the impact you can have on their lives.
Absolutely. I would say the most empowering piece that I didn't even consider, because selfishly, I just wanted to leave the country. That's why I took the job. I was like, I was the first one of them to check that bucket list item. I again, I'm trying not to be all sappy here. I didn't realize how blessed and privileged we were to be born and raised in the United States.
Yeah.
I really, I kind of knew it, but it never really like soaked into my bones. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like on my skin, but not all the way soaked in. And I was able, when you travel, you think you realize it, but you're there, in and out in 5 days. But then going down somewhere and staying for 2 years, you have local friends, play local league, stuff like that. So yeah, that was probably the most eye-opening for me. Was like stuff that we took for granted was not for granted on this planet. So when I when I saw the opportunity to take that past just my job and my opportunity, but expand it to people around me that I'd met playing soccer, playing sports, out and about, um, that kind of became a purpose for me.
Yeah.
Was spreading that to these people. Um, and I got married 3 years ago. A lot of these people were in the wedding, so like that says a lot, right? Like
Yeah.
these aren't just people I'm visiting in Argentina anymore. They're up here in the wedding.
Yeah. I love that. So you've got a bit of a purpose and a drive beyond just your profits, which are you you like to see lives changed for the better. Like you want to change lives. That sounds like so cheesy, so way out there, so whatever, but that's it. You love changing lives. And it's worth it to solve those problems you mentioned that come up every single day. Put out those fires every day because I'm saving lives. I'm not saving, I'm changing. Like I'm doing more than that, right? they they're thriving because of what they can achieve doing the great things they do, helping the market here from there.
Yeah,
Um,
and just to go one hair granular, I won't name our clients just out of their respect to their privacy, but a lot of our clients are doing pretty cool stuff too, and that adds a
sure.
layer when you're able to empower that client that was potentially struggling to raise money or their CAC was too high, and we're able to drop those things and keep the business lights on. We have some clients doing some really cool things in this space that are helping. We'll just say this: they're doing things we believe in.
Nice. I love that. Again, changing the world. One person at a time, one product at a time, whatever that is. There's a draw. So let's pretend, and I'm going to make up a fake one for you right now. But let's pretend that your purpose, and you did this with key members of your team, talking with them, seeing, and everyone was like, yeah, we love to change lives. We change lives. That's our purpose. Okay. And and you see everyone leaning in like, yeah, we do change lives. And it may look like just a SDR role, but that SDR role is changing lives in a significant way. And we're measuring it. We're measuring, right? And we'll talk about that in a second. So first, give me meaning at work, not just a paycheck. Second thing, give me belonging. So people are looking for meaning and belonging. And the belonging has to do with you had some people on your team whose values probably just never would fit. And you've had to get rid of some of those. And others that you're like, these are my kind of people, right? They just are. And the better we get at being explicit about here's who we are, we like to call them your core values, but the better you get at this, here's who we are, and matching that up with attracting people like that, filtering people out who are not like that. Now they're in a community, which I already know you've got some because they showed up at your wedding. Like, I mean, this is your community. It's your new tribe. We want to attract 1,000, 100,000 people like this to this community, the right people. So we give them first purpose or meaning, right? Same thing. Give them a sense of meaning and belonging. The third one is contribution. We need to help them contribute to something meaningful. And so I'm going to take the same number, the same idea of changing lives, like we change lives, and instead say, okay, team, what would we need to achieve? Measurable goal that all of you would say, we just did something phenomenal. And it may be something like, we will change 1,000 lives by 2028. And your team's like, well, how are we going to measure that? And we say, well, we're going to say 1,000 SDRs placed in other places, right? That are doing a great job. And that will be our measurement, just straight up 1,000 SDRs. We're not even counting all the customers and the great things they're doing, just 1,000 SDRs. And then you put some mission goals over here. So that's the mission. That's that sense of contribution. If the whole team's leaning in like 1,000 lives by 2028, our team's going to do that. Like, yeah, we're going to change 1,000 lives. Or maybe it's more. Maybe we count their spouses and kids and our number's 5,000, right? Or whatever it is, right? Like, it's big. These are lives that we're changing. And every day when we check it up and we do that much more, we mark it up on the board or it's on the login screen. Everybody sees it. They're a part of it. The work they did today changed lives. That may be something. Or maybe it's the other direction. Maybe it's changing lives and it has to do with the customers that you're serving. But still, give them something that they're measuring on a daily basis or a weekly or a monthly basis, working towards that goal in 2028 or 2027 or whatever that is. Whatever that number is that the team says, whoa, that's big. I'm not certain we can do it, but I think we can. It's got to be that kind of edgy, right?
I think you'll like something too that I kind of hid from you before, and I just thought of it,
Yeah, tell
but
it to
you
me.
made me think of it. So we're remote first. You know, our kids are, I call them my kids. My kids are located everywhere. Some of my kids are my age, so it's not an age thing. Um, we run our entire business from Slack. And one of the kids was pretty adamant about letting their friends into our Slack to watch what we do because they thought it would be inspiring and motivating and they would learn. So when COVID hit in March of 2022, my partner Ashley Kelly and I opened up our Slack to the public. Anyone could join it. I only have 112 SDRs. There's 3,286 members in our Slack. Like we're not even a fraction of it is so funny when it doubled. I was like, this is crazy. And now there's 3,286. I literally glanced as you were talking. So I thought
Uh,
you'd find that
can you imagine? I, that must be so easy for you to recruit now.
that it became my bench.
That's exactly what it became, right?
Exactly.
Because you are putting out there who you are.
100%.
They're experiencing it, they're feeling it. You're able to attract them. And what a powerful way to do that. And you've got a place you can keep messaging. What are we about? We change lives. Start messaging that. Start dropping it in the Slack and in other places. So as you get to where you can first know what your vision is, and it's not a Gino solo vision. This is your team. You're getting input. So everyone's leaning in on this. Now on the daily, you're reiterating it. And then you're getting them to talk about it. You're getting them to share why this value of who we are matters, or why this purpose is worth serving, or you're getting them to celebrate, hey, we just changed 5 more lives, right? And people are celebrating it, putting it on the Slack, and then, clapping and cheering and whatever else they're doing, or maybe sharing those stories like, yeah, I just sent a kid to college because of this job, right? And they're like, wow, another life changed. Those little things, those little touches, what it does is it kind of turns each one of your employees into a little entrepreneur who cares deeply.
I got to do better. I got to do better at this. Thank you.
And you can, because I've heard you saying it. Like, you are the chief evangelist officer. That's a CEO. instead,
I'll take it.
instead of the other one, think chief evangelist. My job is to keep that message clear and alive. And then when we're solving a business problem, a fire, we're like, okay, how do we do this in a way to change lives? Or how do we do this in line with our value of, and I don't know what some of your values are, but one of yours is family. One of your values is family.
Without a doubt.
We care about your family, and you are our family. We treat each other like a healthy family that loves to be together. This is gonna be the definition of your value there. And so you're gonna be like, all right, we've got to let somebody go. But how do we do this in line with our value of family? And everyone be like, whoa, we're gonna have to approach that different, aren't we? Yeah, let's do it right. And you're gonna talk it through, and you're gonna treat them with dignity, and they're going to probably always be on that Slack channel still because they love you, and you help them launch to their next level career, the next thing they needed to do, where they would shine, because this wasn't the place for them anymore.
It's like you're stealing some. I think you did research here. You didn't even know about this, but no. So what we did when I felt bad that the number got too high past the number of jobs I had open, I actually opened up a jobs channel, and anyone can post jobs in there for free. So there are. I just looked. There are jobs in there this week that I've never heard of, and I won't make a penny from. So I'm positive, unless I'm just trying to tell myself what I want to hear, that someone I've unfortunately had to let go landed on their feet with another job, and I got nothing from it.
Yeah. And there's ways to just keep doing that. And as we do, you live in line with your values, serving your purpose, and your whole team sees it and they say, there's no hypocrisy here. We're real. This is different. And you will find all 105 or how many your team is now, you will find them thinking and acting like business owners. You'll see more discretionary effort. You'll be like, guys, you shouldn't be on the Slack channel at 2 a.m. like I am. Go to sleep. Take care of your family, right? Because they care. Because they care. Because they see that you care. Because they see that you're aligned with what matters most to them. So if I was to give that little bit of nugget little thing, that would be some advice is you can help your team members move forward, build with you faster and better by aligning them to this. Give me a bigger why. Give
That
me
was a
some
big
wins,
nugget.
please.
Don't sell yourself short. That was a big nugget.
There's some magic in the middle of that, but you're already doing some of it. So Gino, just wow, what a privilege talking with you today. I love your heart. I love what you're doing, what your business is trying to do. Just want to make sure that we wrap this up well. Can you tell people, let's say they've got a SaaS company and they could use some help really cranking up this sales process and proving it out. How would they get in contact with you and your fantastic team?
Yep. I'm very active on LinkedIn. My name's Gino, Gino. Last name's Donati, Donati. Last I checked, I was the only one there. So if you ever add me, I'll be very active and responsive. You could also email me, Gino, and then at, and S is in Sam, EED is in dog, the number 2, the letter C.com. The original name of the company was Seed to C because we took people from their seed round to their C round. And it was so hard to say that we changed it to SDR Ready because we do laser focus in on sales dev. But yeah, I'm an open book. I always tell people this. I'm cautious to say it to too many people, but I don't bill consulting hours, even though I was a consultant for many years at Gearsher Lamron Group. If anyone has a question, I hop on calls, I respond to emails, I'll give my opinion. I've been in sales dev, both W-2 and now as a consultant and business owner for almost 20 years. So please, there is no such thing as a bad question. I know it's cliche, but ask me anything. I've seen I've worked for public companies. I've worked for companies 0 to 1, their first SDR, and I've also built teams from 0 to 30 plus SDRs and been a global director of dev. So if you can think it up in sales dev, I've probably dealt with it. And one thing Dave and I were talking about before we got on, if AI is my enemy, and that's in some light, that's the case, But if you look under the hood, I'm also kind of a value added reseller in the sense that I stay very on top of the technology in the space. So you could ask me for an honest opinion. I could tell you I've probably used the software if you're considering it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you again. That wraps up today's episode of the Seven Figure Journey podcast, where we explore the ins and outs of the seven figure journey. Gino, thank you for being a guest on our show today. We loved having you on the show. For all of you listening in, I hope that you will share, like, do all the things to make this episode more available to all the other seven figure business owners out there. Keep striving, keep learning, keep caring, and keep pushing towards your goals. Until next time.